Both avian influenza and Chlamydia psittaci are shed in bird feces and respiratory secretions. When healthy birds and humans are exposed to these infectious secretions, they can become sick. Birds can become infected with AI and Chlamydia psittaci when they ingest or inhale these organisms. It's also important to remember that both AI and Chlamydia psittaci can remain in feces and respiratory secretions of infected birds, and so people may become a source of the spread of infection if they do not use good hygienic practices when working with birds. The most common way humans become infected with avian influenza and psittacosis is through airborne transmission. When excrement is aerosolized, it can be inhaled and cause disease in humans. One of the most important measures that can be taken to prevent disease transmission is to maintain good hand hygiene. This means washing hands with soap and water for at least 20 seconds after having contact with animals. In addition to washing your hands, depending on the disease and situation, personal protective equipment should be worn. This can include gloves, facial protection such as goggles and protective outerwear. Respiratory protection via use of a respirator can be especially important in situations where people are in contact with birds known to be infected with AI or Chlamydia psittaci. An N95 respirator is a readily available type of respirator that is designed to filter at least 95% of airborne particles. To decrease spread of disease from farm to farm, it is important to practice good biosecurity. For instance, equipment, including boots, must be cleaned and disinfected prior to leaving one farm and going to another. This will help decrease disease contamination of fomites. It is also important to purchase healthy animals and to isolate new animals or animals that appear to be sick. And finally, before cleaning or disturbing bird feces or dust, water should be used to dampen the area. Bird feces and dust are easily aerosolized, so wetting down the area will help to decrease the number of airborne pathogens. Although both diseases have been reported in poultry, avian influenza outbreaks are more economically disruptive and easily spread. Outbreaks of avian influenza have been linked to biosecurity gaps. Some examples of lapses in biosecurity include equipment sharing among farms and lack of cleaning and disinfecting of vehicles. When there is a highly pathogenic avian influenza outbreak, it is taken very seriously. Because of how contagious the virus is, as well as the devastating economic implications, the United States Department of Agriculture follows a detailed response plan. The response plan is as follows. In Step 1, animals, farms, or larger areas are quarantined. This means that the movement of animals and equipment into and out of these areas will be restricted. Step 2 is to eradicate infected birds. Step 3 involves monitoring the quarantine area by testing wild and domesticated birds for the virus. Step 4 is to disinfect the quarantine area in order to kill the virus. After the outbreak, farms can be restocked with poultry.